My friends are always asking me that they want to learn how to sew and can I teach them how to sew and what do they need to get started. So I always tell them, well, you need tools in order for you to make this art. So the same way you need paint and paint brushes to make a painting, you're going to need some tools in order to sew a garment or even like an accessory. So your bare essentials that you definitely have to have is going to be a pair of sewing shears. So you want to get you some shears, and I prefer the Mondal brand. They're pretty cool, very sturdy, and I've never had an issue with them. You always need your little pair of snippers at hand so that you can snip those little stray threads. And when you're clipping your threads after you seam a stitch, and my best friend is my seam ripper. It does exactly what it says it does. It rips those seams right on out, and then you have your sewing gauge, and you use that to measure a few couple of things, and safety pins, a thimble. I really like this one. It's a Singer one, and I had got it at Joann's just on a humbug one day. But what I like about it is it has this little cutter right there, so you can cut the thread with it. So that's pretty cool. Your chalk and your tracing wheels. You're going to need needles, both machine and hand sewing needles. Get your ruler, and even if you start small, get you a cutting mat. Cutting mats come really in handy, and they're a great surface to work off of and mark your patterns on and whatnot. And then of course you need a tape measure because you got to measure things out, and your stick pins and straight pins and a pin cushion to hold it all together. And this is one I made like years ago. I hold on to things, but I'm going to be revamping my sewing room, so as I change the fabric theme, I'll be changing some of the other little items that I use. And then some extra optionals that I think are really good to include in your kit is going to be a T-square, and you can grab these at like an art store, or you can get them at a Home Depot or something like that, Lowe's, those type of hardware stores, yeah. And then of course you got your squares, your little acrylic squares here that a lot of the quilters use. They come in really good handy too, as well as get your little triangle. I love this magnetic pin cushion, and it also has sentimental value. So some of the things that you guys will see me use in these videos are kind of old. They're things that are left over from my Aunt Connie. She was my sewing buddy, and she passed away a couple of years, about 4 years ago. So I have some of her items. And so this is one of them. It's just an extra little cutter for me, and I got a pinking blade. You can change these blades out on these things, but you use them with your cutting mats. And this is my Aunt Connie's mat too. So it's old, but with these self-healing cutting mats, you can just clean them off, and I'm pretty rough with them. So if they can make it for more than 6 months with me, it's a pretty good item. This one is a Fiskars, and like I said, if it can survive me, it can survive anything. And then of course get your yardstick. Definitely comes into handy. And then, you know, another cutter, but it has a straight edge, and my dog ate this end, but it's an attachment for when you are cutting seam allowance. So that's a nice little guide to have right there. And then, of course, it's always good to have you a pair of pinking shears. Not only are they decorative, but it's a good way to finish your seams so that they don't ravel. And then this is a point turner, and I just love it. It works really good, and it gives you those nice crisp points. So there you have it. These are basically just a few little items that you need just to get things started. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment below. Like and subscribe and share with a friend.